So guys, the crypto markets are trading sideways right now after seeing an explosive move over the weekend moving into Friday of last week. We saw the last of the inflation data, which didn't really change too much around the CPI and PPI data, but everyone is anticipating rate cuts and exactly what is going to be happening. There's a lot of anticipation though for deviations. A lot of people are calling that, this is already the top for Bitcoin based off of macroeconomic events, how, the labor market is looking, Fed decisions, a lot of different things that are going to be taking place. So right now, I want to be talking about exactly if you have crypto, what should you be doing right now? If you're new to my channel, check out the rest of my content, guys. I've been keeping you updated on the day-to-day events, price action around Bitcoin, Ethereum, altcoins, how liquidity is shifting, and everything you need to be aware of. Like how I said, key news events happen each week, which I keep you updated on, and this is what's going to be happening this week. The biggest thing that's going to be happening is the Fed rate cut decision. That's going to be really determining exactly how the economy is going to be stimulating everything that is taking place. So with all that being said, let's go and jump into the perspectives why a lot of people think that this is the top for Bitcoin and if you should be selling or buying your altcoins right now. So like how I said, the markets are trading sideways right now after seeing a significant pump over the weekend, guys. But right now, everything is waiting for the data and information that is going to be happening this week around the Fed rate cut decision, which everybody has been anticipating, which I have already said is going to be a buy the rumor, sell the news kind of event, expecting deviations a week to 2 weeks after this information and data to be coming out. But right now, we have a whole bunch of reports around, specific earnings, as well as overall decisions that are going to be made from the Fed and exactly what is anticipated based off of previous, zones that we saw within the economy. Right now, the stock markets are performing quite well. Trump is talking about pulling back on pretty much quarterly earnings, and there's a lot of different talks going on. But right now, everyone's anticipating exactly what's going to be happening with the Fed rate decision and exactly what the BPS cut is going to be looking like. KillXBT has been keeping us up with the price action around Bitcoin in terms of a macro perspective. Not exactly what's going to be happening in a week or 2 weeks from now, but what is happening on a day-to-day basis. And this is super bullish because if you can keep up with this, you can know exactly when to long and when to short the markets. Now, take all that with a grain of salt. This is not financial advice, but right now, he's been pretty accurate with the, deviations as well as uptrends that we've been seeing with Bitcoin. Now, he says Bitcoin small daily FVG here being filled, hence where the well has his bids for the first time. Lose this at 113.6K is next. Given the current rejection, it would actually make more sense to sweep the 113.6K region than bouncing here again. So he talks about that specific zone with that FVG gap, and right now he's anticipating that potentially we could be sweeping that zone before moving upwards. And this is where everyone's been super bullish on the markets, but right now we're seeing a little bit of a correction before the week just starts to spring really hard. It is currently Monday whenever this video is being shot, the 15th. So if you're watching this on Tuesday, you're already seeing a little bit more of the volatility in the markets. Dr. Profit has been someone else that has been super bearish, guys, for the past 2 to 3 weeks. And on my channel, I've been showing all of the bearish, perspectives, and it really aligns with what I'm anticipating too. But he goes on to say that he says no one speaks about the open interest that has been taking place over leveraged altcoin market and how a lot of altcoin investors are just pretty much super leveraged and overbought in that region. He goes on to talk about exactly multiple times he called the top. He says he called the 68,000 top in 2021. He called for 18K to be the bottom. We hit the 18K with perfection. He bought at 18K with all profits from 68K. Now at 115K, he started to take profits again, and he will be buying much lower. And this is something that I've been keeping you updated with, letting you know that potentially, yes, we are going to be seeing a pump in the market, but right now a lot of people are selling their Bitcoin because of the specific liquidations that have been taking place and the price action that Bitcoin has had. I'm not going to be diving deeper into it. There is a whole bunch of discussions that are being said about this, which is something I've been talking about on the channel, but just know that everyone is anticipating to short this specific region, even though a lot of people are anticipating bullish moves for Bitcoin and Ethereum moving into the Fed rate cut decision. Now, CryptoCon, this is someone that we actually haven't discussed with the perspectives in a matter of like a month or two because he was being super bullish and it kind of didn't align with what was taking place. But then I saw a post that he made, guys, at the beginning of September, and it just aligned with all of the other bearish perspectives. He goes on to say, yesterday, I made the decision, this was at the beginning of September, to sell all of my Bitcoin and altcoins as I feel data has grown exhausted, which has shifted my perspective from bullish to bearish. I sold my Bitcoin at 112,596. I sold my Ethereum at 4,500. I have been holding both coins from these prices since November 2022 with no buys or sells in between. Bitcoin 16,558, Ethereum 1,196. He says he believes the cycle top has already occurred as of August 2025 at 124,000. This won't be a popular opinion, just as it wasn't when he did the same thing in April of 2021. Will it be right? He has no idea. But he says he's content with his decision and happy with his profits. And this is why, guys, this is why I tell you, normal retail investors like you and I don't respond the same way like big investors like Crypto Con and Dr. Profit, because these people have much more money in the market, so they don't care about missing, a potential quick to 5 to 10x because of the potential downside that is presented, especially when they've been holding these positions for a long time, guys. And this is why I'm telling you, everyone that is preaching to you that altcoin season is about to happen, which I still believe altcoin season is going to be happening, just not in a month or two. I think that, we're going to be seeing a huge fake out, and then from there, deviations are going to be happening, and this is why I'm not really allocating to the market right now. But to give you a little bit of a bullish perspective, Crypto Mitch now has been, giving his perspectives on how he doesn't really care about the deviations and downsides with altcoins, and how at the end of the day, he knows that new all-time highs are on the verge, and he doesn't care about the potential downside that is happening. But we go on to talk about exactly, what is happening with the FOMC meeting that's going to be discussed. He says very likely we'll continue to correct on Bitcoin and altcoins until the FOMC meeting is passed. It's just a standard procedure. If there's a dip, then he's willing to buy it. And this is what a lot of, crypto investors and altcoin investors are saying. Goes on to say this week is going to be a big milestone for macro directions on the markets, especially with the Fed rate decision, guys. Biggest thing on the chart right now. But I assume we're close to the peak on gold and about to see a strong run on the markets. At least would be happy with high volatility, as that would generate us a positive return on our assets. Until now, 12.21% return on the fund in the first 2 months, and I expect to have a positive return in September as well. Interested? And then he goes on to give us the perspective around exactly the M in fund and exactly the economic data and what's anticipated for risk assets. Based off of M in fund, it goes on to say last week macroeconomic data provided a clear pathway for these central banks. CPI and PPI weren't a big change, which is true. We saw expectations stay exactly, where everything was expected. No big change in the upward or downward move. But however, there has been in the annual revision of the job data caused a drop of 911,000 jobs. And there's honestly, guys, a lot of revisions that have been made prior to everything that has been happening. So this is something that I've also been letting you know about, which pretty much stems with the bearish perspectives in the market. But the largest in history. For us as fund managers, it's clear that monetary expansion and rate cuts are on the horizon as the Fed needs to stimulate the economy in order to prevent a recession. I said that as well, but how much of an effect is it going to have on the market, especially since we're anticipating multiple rate cuts because of all the revisions in the weak economy and the inflation data and everything that's been taking place. Moving forward, usually that's a good sign for risk on assets to start thriving, which means that we continue to seek opportunities in the markets through ETH and altcoins. But like how I said, I think this just stems to the perspective that yes, we're going to be seeing a pump. I had a video talking about how we're going to be pumping and then we're going to be dumping, and this is exactly what is aligning with my perspectives, guys. Now, I'm not going to get into whole different calls and influencers and everything, more crypto analysts and traders, because they actually keep you updated with what is exactly going on, not some random altcoin or what they are pushing or how they feel on the day. They just give you data and everything that's going on. Benjamin Cohen has been someone that has been talking about Bitcoin dominance returning, guys, back in September, moving into October. And usually we have seen this in multiple cycles also in previous years, just based off of exactly throughout the year how Bitcoin performs. It goes on to discuss exactly what the data points are going to be, sustaining for the markets, and exactly what's anticipated. The BPS rate cut, whether it's going to be 25, 50, everyone is wondering exactly what is going to be happening. But this is where all eyes are on, guys. And this is super, super important. And this week is going to be letting us know how that volatility is going to be moving and what direction. Now, crypto markets are trading sideways, guys. I've said this multiple times. I've said guys multiple times, and I know you're probably tired of hearing that. But right now, everything is just trading sideways, and the biggest thing is waiting for the price action and the news events that are going to be happening later on in the week. If we look into my crypto portfolio, you can see that a lot of the assets for the 24-hour are down, even for the 7-day as well. And a lot of these assets, guys, are approaching their previous lows, where a lot of these assets were reaching, max pain, and then from there they ran up exponentially. And moving into the Fed rate cut decision, I'm anticipating that more than likely we're going to be seeing a front run. Everyone is going to be buying into these assets. Everyone is going to be, investing. It's going to cause a significant pump in the market. And I'm sure we're going to be seeing a massive dip before we see a huge run up, a correction. But I think a lot of people aren't anticipating this. And this is where I try to give you guys videos like this that are anywhere from 10 to 15 minutes, just giving you guys the perspectives from crypto analysts and traders, the news events and the data, and nothing else in between. I'm not trying to preach a narrative. I'm just trying to tell you what is happening in the markets. Now, swiping everything to the side, what should you be doing? Well, you're either on one or the other side, guys. You either think everything is going to be pumping. In that sense, keep dollar cost averaging, keep investing into the market, do not capitulate your bag, and expect the pumps. And then whenever pumps happen, I hope that you take a little bit of profit off the table. Now, if you're on the bearish perspective, that you think that this is a bull trap, which is what I really think, then you're not really dollar cost averaging into the market. You understand the lows that are currently being put into place. You're thinking maybe of throwing, $200 to $400 into the markets, maybe a little bit more just to get you a little bit of a position. You're anticipating all of the pumps that are going to be happening moving into the rate cut decision this week, how it's going to be having an effect on the markets moving into next week and the following week. And then from there, how liquidity is going to be moving into Bitcoin and Ethereum and everything. If you're scared, do not capitulate your bags, but don't be throwing a whole bunch of money into the market. Dollar cost average and wait for the correction to then throw the money into the market. If you want to be buying at better prices, then you can do what a lot of these crypto analysts and traders are doing and sell your positions. But that, in my opinion, is one of the worst decisions you can make. Why? Let me tell you. Because we are not super experienced traders. We do not spend every single minute of every single second, every day looking at every single chart. And as a result, you do not know when is going to be the best time for you to buy back into your position. Whether you're buying Solana and you're selling Solana, whether you're buying Ethereum and selling Ethereum, whether you're buying an altcoin and selling an altcoin. If you are not keeping up with all this information, you do not know exactly when to do it. So the best thing to do is to allocate, expect volatility, deviations, pumps, and then wait for your window to actually exit. That's the best thing you can do. I do not recommend selling positions and trying to buy back in at a better price. If you do that, more than likely you're going to get wrecked. And on this channel, I try to make crypto investing easier for you guys and navigating, not more difficult. So if you're new to my channel, check out the rest of my content. I keep you guys updated on the day-to-day events, price action on Bitcoin, Ethereum, altcoins, how liquidity is shifting, the key news events happening, and everything you need to be aware of. I also try to give you guys a perspective at the end of my videos, like what I'm doing right now, where I tell you exactly what I am doing, and I don't, sugarcoat it. All these influencers, all these Coles, they live a different life than you. They have a whole bunch of resources, so they navigate the space completely different. And then they put a tweet on, or a post on X telling you, are you feeling bullish right now? When do you think you're gonna pull out? Blah, 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 blah. And it gets into your head. You need to be focusing on the data and exactly how to navigate the space. Once you learn all of this stuff, then from there you can start to dabble in people's perspectives and really still man it. But in today's video, I just want to keep it simple to you guys. Follow the data, keep up with the information, do not capitulate your bag if you believe in the crypto markets, and just stay tuned. I'm gonna be dropping more crypto market updates later in the week as we see this data roll out. I'm gonna drop another video later today talking about exactly just a real perspective from a crypto trader that has been here for about 2-3 years now, and exactly what you should be doing. This is also just talking about exactly if you have crypto, what you should be taking advantage of and what you should be watching. But any questions, suggestions, guys, drop it down below. I'd love to hear everything y'all have to say, and just get ready. Crazy times, crazy times. But if you are ready for this, you're going to be able to generate a lot of revenue. Stay tuned. Catch you next one. Peace.